over the years I've learned a lot. Just kind of picked up on different things from experience and riding around and buying different motorcycles, trying different things, stuff like that. So in this video, I just want to kind of give like a head start for newer riders that are just getting into motorcycling and what you should look for, and probably your best, smoothest course of action as far as getting into riding. So we're going to do 5 things that you should do, or you should pay attention to when you first get into riding, and this will just make it a lot more pleasant experience, more comfortable, give you more confidence, save you a lot of money, things like that. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. So yeah, let's just start with the first thing right off the bat, and that is to go take the MSF course. Sorry, there's a lot of bumps on this road. That'll probably make the biggest difference in your riding career when you first start out. I rode dirt bikes for a few years, so I had some two-wheel experience with off-road and that kind of thing, but motorcycles are a little different animal. You're going much faster. You have to counter steer, which is the main thing. You don't really have to do that so much on a dirt bike, unless you're, taking some corners pretty quick. But on a motorcycle, it's essential that you learn how to counter steer properly. And you don't need the MSF teach you that, but the MSF goes through that and a lot more in a controlled environment in a parking lot, usually in community college, that kind of thing. They'll teach you, about how to dodge a bird right there. They'll teach you, what to look out for regarding traffic, road hazards, which specific segments of the road you should ride in, and just different things like that. Stuff you probably don't really think about getting started as a new rider. And probably the biggest thing for me is just that they put you out in a parking lot with cones and make you do different maneuvers, like taking off from a stop and going directly into a right-hand turn. Like if you're gonna be at a stoplight and take a right-hand turn, and running over obstacles in the roadway like boards, stopping quickly. If you're approaching at like 30 mile an hour or something, and you have to swerve really quick, things like that. Smooth S curves. You go through all that in the course. So it's just a really nice confidence builder, no matter the skill level. But especially for people that are just getting into the riding sport, So it's just probably the very first thing I recommend is just go do that. Even if you don't have a bike, they usually have bikes to provide you. I would just suggest using one of theirs. Probably go buy your own helmet though. I wouldn't wear one of their helmets. I did. I probably wouldn't do it again. I'd just go buy a cheap helmet, even if you're going to throw it away later, or get a better one later, But yeah, without beating a dead horse, we're going to move on to the next topic. So the next thing to address is buying a used bike. So I know you can go into a dealership and you see these cool beginner bikes that like Ninja 500 now. When I first started riding, it was only the 250R, and then the 300 came out. But yeah, there's so many nice options for the beginner rider now, and you see those in dealership, and you're like, oh man, $5,500, I can, or $5,500, I can go in and get a nice new bike and all that, and you can do that, but you're just starting out, so you probably don't quite know what type of riding you want to do yet. And when you get your first bike, a few months in, you're already going to be thinking about your next bike. You're like, oh, what can I get next? You're going to be searching through a ton of YouTube videos, and a cruiser or a sport bike or whatever, whichever path you decide to go down. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast with riding. Is your first bike is not meant to be your last, unless of course you're one of those people that gets on 1000 and wraps yourself around a tree or something like that. But yeah, I would just suggest buying a used bike. I mean, that's what I did. I bought I think it was a 2014 Honda CB500. Rocks right here. Honda CB500, okay? And, you know, I bought it for $2,500 from somebody I knew. I rode it around for a few thousand miles, and then I sold it for $100 more than I bought it for. So you can't beat that, you know. And, you know, it was a beater. It needed a new clutch. You know, it had been dropped. But as long as it runs, it doesn't matter. You're just out here. Your main goal with your first bike is to get experience and find out what you like and what you don't like, and then apply that to the next bike, right? So the thing that you might not understand is that when you buy a bike from a dealer, there's all these hidden fees. So you see that $5,500 price and you be like, oh, you know, whereas, you know, a used Ninja 500 may be, you know, $44,000, $45,000 or something. But what you don't know, or what you don't see, is all the fees that go with it. Like your destination fee, maybe $600-$700, setup charge, another $300, just different things like that, and then a document fee, which they can, depending on state, you know, they can charge upwards of $1,000 for stuff like that. So it can add up quick. You know, that what you thought was a $5,500 bike can be over $7,000 or more once you do all that, taxes and everything, right? So just something to keep in mind there. You know, you're a lot better, cheaper in the long run by getting a used bike, and it's already depreciated. You know, it's already went through its main depreciation cycle, so you can just about sell it for what you bought it for when you decide to get rid of it years later, as long as you don't, you know, wreck it or anything. So the next thing that I want to address is riding gear. And you always see me in my videos, I'm all the time wearing full riding gear. You know, us motorcyclists out here on this bike, this is our seat belt, if you will. You know, your proper riding gear. This is all, kind of bug on my windshield. This is all we have between us and the road, right? So, you know, unlike in a car, you can just put on your seat belt and wear normal clothes and you'll probably be okay because of airbags. You don't have that on a bike. So, you know, it hurts when you're walking down the sidewalk and you fall and scrape your knee or something, right? And you're just at walking speed. Think what it's going to feel like when you're going 60 miles an hour down the road and you fall and slide across that asphalt for a few seconds. You know, or God forbid you slide off and hit a tree or something, right? So that's just something to keep in mind is, you know, you want to save some of the funds that you were going to put into your bike. Maybe find a cheaper bike and get used gear, or not used gear, get some gear at the same time. You know, buy a new helmet. I would kind of suggest against buying used helmets, as you don't know if they've been dropped and compromise the foam that keeps your head safe in a crash. Used like coats and stuff is a little different, but helmets I would definitely go new. As far as, you know, you don't have to get the best stuff. You know, I like Dainese because it fits really well, and Alpine Star stuff, but just get what you can afford. You know, as long as you're covered and it has some CE rated gear, that's really all that matters. And usually, you know, this kind of ties back into the first point, right? When I took the MSF with my wife, we went to a Cycle Gear, and I showed them the little card that we got from the MSF, and they give me like a 15% discount. I don't know what they would do now, but like back then it was, they give me a 15% discount off of all the stuff we bought. So I got some nice stuff because of that savings I was getting, and that was just really nice. So that can help you get some good gear for not a lot of money, if you can find a shop that'll do that. So for the next point, and I know as a new rider, this is something that kind of excites you, you know, because you're probably watching videos of people going out and, you know, there's like 30 bikers, and, you know, they're having fun on their Groms and, you know, different bikes and things like that. But group rides is one of the most dangerous things you can participate in as a motorcycle rider. They can be a lot of fun, and they can also be really dangerous. Because the thing about group rides is there's so much variance in the amount of skill that people have, and riding ethics and chances that people are willing to take, and it just varies so much because most of the time anybody can join the group, And so you can run into some really sketchy people that'll do things they shouldn't be doing, and it makes it really hairy. I went on a group ride. I'm not going to say who they were, but I never went back since, because some of the riders in that group were so they were just very brazen with the way they were like riding right past you, and doing different things. Like I was out on a highway, and I was about to get over into my right lane, and it's a good thing I checked my blind spot, because this dude that had I could tell he was a new rider, and he just flies right by me, and it caught me off guard, because I was like, well, damn, I'm glad I checked my blind spot at the last second before I did that, because I'd have ran right into him. And I was doing highway speeds like 70 plus miles per hour on this road. It can get really sketchy, so that's just something I would suggest, is stay away from group rides until you're more experienced. There's nothing wrong with them. They can be a lot of fun, but I've been riding for years, and at some parts of that group ride, I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this again. It's like there's too many noobs in this. The people that were more experienced were just fine, but it's like the people that haven't been riding long just kind of ruined the group ride for me. And I understand they have to build up experience somehow, but it's like just stay away from that, and you'll be okay. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was U-turns. And this is probably one of the biggest, most important things you can learn while you're out on the road, is learning how to do a proper U-turn. Because you never know when you may need to do one, and doing it without going off the road is I would say it's a vital skill as a motorcycle rider, as a competent motorcycle rider. Is you should be able to do a U-turn without having to go off the road or put your feet down. That's just, it's harder on super sports, but it's still doable. And it should just be something you can do without even really thinking about. And there are different techniques. I'm not going to get into all that, because this isn't a motorcycle training channel. But just learn how to do proper U-turns. I hope I didn't talk too long and make it longer than I intended to be, but some of these things have to be fleshed out a little bit, when you're talking about them, to give context and why I recommend certain things over others. All right, this has been Black River Rider. Till next time, we'll see you.